What goes into calculating your credit score? 35% of your score is your payment history, which are current payment records for car loans, mortgages, retail accounts, installment loans, credit cards, and other unpaid as agreed accounts. Public records, bankruptcies, foreclosures, wage garnishments, liens, and judgments. Severity of delinquency, length of time past due, amount past due on accounts or collections, recent delinquencies or collections, number of past due or derogatory accounts. 30% of your score is amounts owed, which are amounts owed on revolving accounts, total amounts owed on all accounts, number of accounts with balances, proportion of balance to credit limit on revolving accounts, proportion of balance still owing on installment accounts. 15% of your score is the length of your credit history, which includes age of accounts, number of recently opened accounts, time since account activity, proportion of new credit versus established credit, reestablishment of new credit following adverse payment problems. 10% of your score is the type of credit used, which is the number of various types of accounts, for example, credit cards, retail accounts, installment loans, mortgages, and consumer finance accounts. This is usually called your credit mix. And lastly, 10% of your score is based on new credit and inquiries, which are the number of recent open accounts, the number of recent inquiries, the time since last inquiry, and a time since account opening as a consumer. As stated earlier, in 1971, we were introduced to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or FCRA, which tried to make sure you have a credit report that is accurate, fair, and private. In 1975, we were introduced to the Fair Credit Billing Act, FCBA, and its purpose was to protect consumers from unfair billing practices and to have us consumers a way to address billing errors in our revolving credit accounts. And lastly, in 1977, we were introduced to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or FDCPA, which tried to eliminate abusive practices by debt collectors and aimed to ensure our credit report was accurate. Even though all of these laws are still in effect, when describing them, you probably noticed that I use phrases like tried, aimed to, and its purpose was. This is because for the past 40 years, credit bureaus, lenders, and collection agencies have ignored most of the laws. For example, information about you has to be accurate and verified before it is entered on your credit report. If reasonable procedure have not been correctly followed, then any unverified item or inaccuracies must be removed from your credit report as defined in the FCRA. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. Manage your credit effectively. As a review, your credit score is broken down into 5 categories. 35% of your score is based on your credit history, 30% is based on your usage ratio, 15% is based on the length of credit history, 10% is based on your credit mix, and 10% is based on new accounts. Now, here are tips on managing your credit effectively. Payment history tips. Make sure you pay your bills on time because the newest late payment and collection accounts have the largest impact on your score. If you are past due for any reason, get current now. The longer you stay current and pay your bills on time, the higher your credit score will be. Don't be quick to close accounts. Doing so may result in losing valuable credit score points associated with that account. Amounts owed tips. Keep your balances low on credit cards and other revolving accounts. A general rule of thumb is to keep your balances below 30% of the credit limit or high balance lines. For example, you should not spend more than $300 for every $1,000 you have in available credit. Pay off your debt instead of just moving it around. One of the most effective ways to improve your credit score is to pay down the balance on your credit cards or other revolving accounts. Owing the same amount but having fewer opened accounts may lower your score because it is increasing your usage ratio. Keep as many of your accounts below 30% of the credit limits or high balance as you can. And lastly, don't open new accounts to increase your available credit. This can actually backfire and lower your score. Length of credit history tips. If you're just establishing your credit history, stay away from trying to open new accounts too soon. New accounts may bring down your score temporarily, especially if you're just starting out. Rapid account buildup can be seen as a risk to potential creditors. If you have past payment history problems, reestablish yourself as soon as you can. Opening new accounts that you can afford to pay off on time will increase your credit score in the long run. Try not to open too many accounts with creditors who are known to lend to consumers with less than perfect credit. Doing so may hinder your ability to obtain additional credit from more traditional lenders. Type of credit tips. Only apply and open accounts as you need them. Don't just do it to have them available. A good credit mix is having 3 open and active revolving accounts, 1 to 2 installment accounts, and 1 mortgage. Also, it is important to understand the types of inquiries. And a credit inquiry appears on your credit report if a credit report is pulled while you are obtaining new credit or when your current lender requests it. Hard inquiries, when you apply for a mortgage, auto loan, credit card, or other type of account, you authorize the lender to obtain a copy of your credit report. These type of credit inquiries appear on your credit report and will impact your credit score by at least 2 points per inquiry. Stay away from applying for a lot of credit at once or jumping from lender to lender to see who will approve you. The only exception to this rule is if you are shopping for a mortgage or car. FICO gives you a 14-day, 30-day, or 45-day window to shop for and apply for credit when it's for a mortgage or a car purchase, so it will count the multiple inquiries as only one. Account review inquiries and consumer-based inquiries. These type of inquiries do not affect your credit score. When you choose to pull your own credit report, it is considered a consumer-based inquiry and will not affect your credit score. This is why it baffles me that more people are not more conscious about where they stand with their credit. But I digress. Many creditors or collection agencies have the ability to pull your credit report to review account activity. Some use it to extend more credit, some use it to take credit away. When applying for a job, some states allow credit reports to be pulled by a prospective employer. This will not affect your score either. Promotional inquiries. In many cases, a company will pull your credit report to send you pre-approved credit offers or other promotional offerings. These inquiries do not affect your credit score. You can opt out to stop them from doing so. Length of time the following stays on your credit report. Bankruptcy, 10 years. Public record, 10 years. Collections, 7 years. Inquiries, 2 years.